Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. So today we've seen the first English trailer for Dragon Ball Daima. Now obviously we've seen the previous trailers in Japanese for Daima, but we get an idea of how the English dub is going to sound. And I am excited because we found out the voice of Kid Gohan, Kid Goku, Stephanie Nadolny is coming back to voice Kid Goku in the new series. And it is so exciting because she hasn't been in that role for about a decade now, maybe 15 odd years. I think she left in about 2009, 2011, somewhere around there. So to see Stephanie Nadolny back playing Kid Goku and maybe even Kid Gohan, maybe that's the way it goes. It's so it's so nostalgic. It's such a nostalgic trip for Dragon Ball fans who grew up on the English dub. In Australia, we grew up on Cheese TV watching Dragon Ball Z, watching Where's Something Here, let's grab that. Watching the Cell Saga, you know? When Kid Gohan was the main character in that. Stephanie Nadolny is a veteran voice actor, and to have her back in the Dragon Ball fandom, Dragon Ball show, Dragon Ball official media, it is really promising to see that A, she's back, B, she's still willing to play Kid Goku and Kid Gohan and those sort of characters, but also we need to ask, is she replacing Colleen Clinkenbeard, who's obviously took over a lot of the roles when Stephanie left initially? Now, Colleen's work has been really good. Like, don't get me wrong, I like Colleen Clinkenbeard's voice acting. I think it's decent, but it's just not that nostalgic trip. It's not what I woke up and watched on Cheese TV. It's not that nostalgic trip for me to say, hey, this is what I grew up on. It does justice to the voice, but it's not the same. Whereas I think Stephanie does that thing. It's like if Linda Young came back and started voicing Freezer again. Like, that would be nostalgic as well. Although that doesn't mean that Chris Ayres is any bit bad. It just means that it's a different take on the character. And yes, I understand what people are going to say, like, okay, Stephanie Nadolny, you're just going old school. But this is what Daima at its core is meant to be, a love note to the fandom from Akira Toriyama, the last official show, official canon he worked on. So it's somewhat of a love note, and to see that America and Funimation are taking it as seriously and saying, okay, well, we want to throw back, we want to get people loving Dragon Ball again, we want people to remember what they loved about Dragon Ball. I think it's the right move. I think that having Stephanie Nadolny in there, I mean, don't get me wrong, Colleen Clinkenbeard's done awesome work, but Stephanie's the one we grew up on. And to see her back is amazing. Obviously, Daima is a bit of a take on what I believe is Toriyama trying to correct GT. I mean, a lot of people will see it as maybe a GT official take on GT, maybe, because obviously they're becoming kids again, you know, there's going to be a bit of that. I would like to see some aspects of GT adapted into Daima. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing a Super Saiyan 4 transformation official canon adopted into the main timeline, the main story, the main Akira Toriyama sort of canon. But, you know, I think that as a love note to the fandom, which is what Daima is, it is nice to have all these little aspects coming together now. I mean, Masako Nozawa will be doing great work on the Japanese dub, and the big issue why a lot of people didn't watch the English dub of Super was that I'm one of the fans who watched it raw from Japan as it was airing. Like, literally, I was finding online streams to watch it at the exact same time as Japan was watching Super. So I was watching it without subtitles, any of that. I was just watching it to see what was happening, and then I'd watch the subtitled version later. But you're not going to have that issue with this, because they're releasing Daima both in Japanese and in English at the exact same time. And that's going to be promising, because it means you can choose. You don't have to say, okay, I'll watch the Japanese one and then the English dub later. You can choose your experience, and that's pretty cool. Now, obviously, we have to talk about Daima is not Super. I know people are going to say, but the Moro arc, we need Moro, we need to see Moro, we need the Moro arc. I agree, we need to see Moro, we need to see how Super plays out. But we had that issue when when Super was first airing, Super, the TV show, was ahead of the manga. And the manga was being done after the fact, so things were changing the manga here and back and forward. I want the manga to get a bit ahead so that at least they can draw from something. We see what happens when something like Game of Thrones doesn't have season 7 and 8 in the books to draw from. They have to kind of guess what would happen. So we can sort of look at that and say, okay, Super, let's let it get about 3 or 4 mangas, like 3 or 4 arcs ahead or something like that, and then let's do Super. I think Super will come back next year, maybe the year after. We've been saying that since 2019, but I think it's just a matter of time before Super comes back. But in the meantime, we've got new Dragon Ball media. We've got new Dragon Ball show, a new Dragon Ball show coming out. Daima is a love note to the fandom. It is a Toriyama's final thing. Is like, hey guys, swan song, here it is. Love you fans. This is what I loved in the first place about Dragon Ball. The quirkiness of like the characters and stuff like that. Like I can see this being like Toriyama saying goodbye to the fans, and I can see that as like the final episode of Toriyama's vision of being, okay, Daima was the love note. Daima was the goodbye. And Super will be a continuation beyond that. So to say that it is a it's exciting to see. Obviously I want to see how closely associated it is to GT, because a lot of people are comparing it to GT already, even though we haven't seen the show. But I still think it will be interesting to watch. I think it's going to be an interesting one, especially with the nostalgia trip that Stephanie Nadolny will bring playing Kid Goku. I'm interested to see where this is and where this goes. Let me know in the comments, guys. Are you excited to see Daima now that Stephanie Nadolny is back as Kid Goku? The voice of Kid Gohan as well. Like, that's where a lot of people know her from. That's where a lot of people remember her from. The voice of Kid Gohan when the Cell Saga was happening. You know? That's where a lot of people remember her from. That's where a lot of people are going to say, oh, she's back. Yes, I want to watch it. And there'll be people who, like me, who watched Dragon Ball, the original series, when they went back and dubbed that and was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I grew up on Kid Gohan as well through the Cell Saga and Namek and Frieza. And then there'll be people who experience it for the first time. Like, this is one of those shows that I think is going to bring generations together of Dragon Ball fans. But let me know what you think in the comments, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stephanie Nadolny's back, but Colleen's done some good work, so Colleen Clinkenbeard, thanks for your contributions to Dragon Ball. Really, really great voice work over the past decades since you've been playing the characters. Like, I don't know if you're going to continue in Dragon Ball Super, if that's the path you're on, but if this is the end for Colleen Clinkenbeard in Dragon Ball media, she's done all right with the characters, guys. I mean, yes, you can say what you will about Funimation. I know all the controversy around Funimation changing lines and that. I know all that stuff. But at the end of the day, voice actors, they deliver an experience that bring characters to life. And it is respectable when you see a really good interpretation of things. Like, as I said, I want to see, like, a Linda Young Frieza is different to a Chris Ayers Frieza. Like, they are both good in my eyes. One is different, the other one's different. So you can pick and choose which one you prefer. Obviously, I prefer Linda Young because I'm nostalgic for that. But, you know, you can even talk about the, I forget his name, but Japanese Frieza. That laugh is iconic in Japanese Frieza. Like, that is the best laugh out of all the Friezas you have. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Are you excited to see Daima? Let me know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.